Known as the longest and most historically important overland trade route, the Silk Road was not a single road, but a network of multiple routes that were used for carrying goods between China and the West. The name Silk Road eventually originated from the Greek word Syris for China, which means the land of silk. Starting at the old capital cities of Luoyang and Xi'an, the Silk Road routes crossed the Yellow River at Lanzhou, then followed the Gansu Corridor or Hexi Corridor, the area west of the Yellow River, into Xinjiang. At Donghuang, the route split three ways. The northernmost branch crossed north around the Tian Shan Mountains, and the other two crossed north and south of the Taklamakan Desert or Tarim Basin. The Silk Road routes across northern China were believed to have been significant not only to China's history, but to the history of the whole world as well. Formation of the Silk Road. It was dating back to the 5th century BCE when Darius I built the 2,000-mile Persian Royal Road starting from the Tigris River to the Aegean Sea. The regular relay points along the road allowed goods and messages to transport with only 1/10 the amount of time of a single traveler. Added to this, the invasion of Persia by Alexander the Great and his expansion into Central Asia by conquering cities like Samarkand, a city in southeastern Uzbekistan, and settling new ones like Alexandria Shat gave rise to the idea of a bridge connecting China and Europe. The spreading eastward of culture and commerce of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Indian also stimulated the formation of the Silk Road. Prehistory of the Silk Road. Trade activities were noticed back to 4,000 years ago in Xinjiang. During the time of Shang Kingdom, between 1400 and 1046 BC, jade was a precious item from an area of Xinjiang. Besides jade, silk started to be popular by the first millennium BC and was transported to Siberia through the Gansu Corridor over the northern branch of the Silk Road. Evidence of silk being found in a tomb in Egypt that dated to 1070 BC supported the silk trading across Eurasia. Early Silk Road trading during the Zhou dynasty, 1045 to 221 BC. By around 600 BC, gold, jade, and silk became popular items among merchants between Europe and Western Asia in the advanced states of the Zhou dynasty. Around 300 BC, civilizations active along the Silk Road included ancient Greece, Persia, Yuezhi, and the Qin state that had control over the eastern part of the Gansu Corridor, a huge long valley that starts from Luoyang to Xinjiang. Development of the trade route during the Han Empire, 206 BC to 220 AD. The Han Empire was considered to be one of the most important factors that stimulated the development of the Silk Road. At first, the silk trade was conducted within the Han Empire from the interior to the western borders, until it was hindered by the attacks of some small nomadic tribes of Central Asia on the trade caravans. To protect their internal trade routes, in 138 BCE, General Zhang Qian was sent as an envoy to what the Chinese called the Western regions to scout out the territory and to try to form an anti-Xiongnu alliance with the Western people, the Yuezhi. Zhang Qian's journey started from the capital of the Western Han dynasty at Chang'an, today Xi'an, past the vast western regions, and reached three small kingdoms named Lulan on the northeastern edge of the Lop Desert, Chizi in the present Kush County of Aksu Prefecture, and Yushan, now known as Hessian, with whom he built a trade relationship. After the trip, he came back to the Han Emperor with stories of civilized societies, flourishing commercial exchange, and a wide diversity of novel products over the western borders. Soon, silk and jade were brought to exchange for horses and cotton by diplomats and tradesmen from China, marking the beginning of the Silk Road trade. The envoys from the country Zhang were sent to Chang'an, and trading flourished across the trade routes, bringing silk and ceramics to other parts of the world. At the end of the Han Empire in 220, the region was split into three warring states, Wei, Shu, and Wu, marking the beginning of the Three Kingdoms period. Around that same time, the increase of barbarian attacks on the Roman Empire further impeded trade with Europe. Western states of the Roman Empire were also subjected to attacks by the Huns, leading to the decline in trade in Central Asia. The fall of the Roman Empire in about 400 AD, along with other reasons, contributed to the decrease of trading activities through the Gansu corridor to the west until the rise of the Tang Empire. The explosion of trading activities during the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 917. During the early years of the Tang Dynasty, the Silk Road route in Xinjiang was under the control of Turkic tribes until the Tang Dynasty conquered the Turkic tribes and took over the Silk trade route. The trade route was then reopened, followed by the explosion of trading activities with the West. The Sogdians were known as the Silk Road's most prominent merchants and middlemen for more than 1,000 years. They played a major role in the Tang Dynasty trade and also gained in importance in the military and government of the Tang Dynasty court. A trade network that stretched about 1,500 kilometers from Sogdiana to Tang territory was established as the result of Sogdian merchants and diplomats traveling as far west as the Byzantine Empire. The development of the Silk Road trade during this time also flourished thanks to the famous monk Xuanzang. During his trip from Chang'an to the Gansu corridor, Hami, and Turpan, and then further westward to India, he reported receiving unexpectedly warm welcome along the way, contributing to the improved relations between the Tang government and these tribes and kingdoms. Unfortunately, the Tang dynasty lost its control of the western region by 760 AD, resulting in the halt of trade activities along the Silk Road. The halt of trading activities during the Song Empire, 960 to 1279. After the fall of the Tang Empire in 907, followed by decades of civil wars, a new dynasty called the Song Empire was established. Despite its strength and known power, the Song Empire had no control over the Gansu corridor, but it was the Western Xia kingdom in the northwest that controlled the access to the strategic Gansu corridor. The Song then attempted to reopen the Silk Road trade by taking back the land of the Western Xia, but they failed. 2 centuries later, the Song court was forced south of Yangtze River, leaving the remaining southern Song Empire even further from the Silk Road route. In the 1200s, they got attacked by the Mongols. The Western Silk Road routes, however, were developed and protected by the Mongol Empire during their expansion in Central Asia and Europe before the fall of the Southern Song Empire. Trade at its height during the Yuan dynasty, 1271 to 1368. Thanks to the Mongol promotion of trade within their huge empire that stretched across Eurasia, trading activities along the Silk Road revived and reached its peak during the Yuan dynasty. The Silk Road routes also gave adventurers the chance to gain a better understanding of the culture and geography of the Far East. One of the famous explorations conducted via the Silk Road routes was the journey to China from Italy by Marco Polo, a Venetian explorer. They followed the overland routes using camels and arrived at the magnificent summer palace Xanadu of the Mongolian Emperor Kublai Khan in 1275. Later, Marco spent 24 years in total working as a tax collector for Kublai Khan's court before coming back to Venice, Italy in 1295 via the Silk Road routes due to the decline of the Mongolian Empire. He then published a book called The Travels of Marco Polo, which was based on his journey across the Silk Road, helping to broaden the knowledge of the West about the culture and trading in Asia. The end of the Silk Road trade. After the fall of the Mongol Empire, Central Asia and the Silk Road routes were taken over by Tamerlane, a Turco-Mongol conqueror who kept the passage open within his realm as far as Tabriz in Persia. However, these overland routes to China were soon closed after Tamerlane's death in 1405 and the revolt of his subject princes. The trade routes in the Middle East were taken over by the Ottoman Turks. Europe and the empires of the Ming and Qing were separated from the West due to the conquest of the Byzantine Empire and the Ottoman control of Western Asia, making overland travel more dangerous. Though trade of silk for furs with the Russians in the north of the original Silk Road continued, by the end of the 14th century, trade and travel along the route had decreased significantly. In the 1400s, the Ming dynasty shifted to isolationist policies, according to which China avoided trading with the rapidly advancing West, ultimately ending the once prosperous and widespread trade. By the 16th century, with the prominence of ocean trade, it was now safer and quicker to transport goods by ship rather than across the long and often dangerous Silk Road, further contributing to the decline in trading along the routes. Thanks for watching. If you find this information useful, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos of history.